Welcome back to my video series about my DIY lathe, which I started to build about a year and a half ago. And at that time I wasn't really sure if I could really build one which is usable or not. So I just bought the most necessary parts. One of the compromises I made was this tool holder, which is actually a cheap aluminium tool holder, and I knew that I will one day change it to something better if I am happy with the actual lathe functions and that it can be used or not. But for testing, this aluminium tool holder was more than enough. But now it's time to get something better. One reason why I want to change it is because it's a bit of flimsy design. There is a pin which extends as I push, as I turn the handle, and if it's not properly adjusted, it can move quite a bit, and that's causing some inaccuracy. And I hope I will be able to improve the accuracy by changing to something more rigid. And the one I decided to buy is this one. It's a Multifix tool holder type. So let's start by removing the old one and adding the new one. The new one needs actually an adapter also. It's because it's not just a 10mm hole here, but it has some, I don't know if you can see it in the video, maybe. Yeah, I think you can. There are recessions also, and only the top hole is a 10mm one. But for now I will just attach it using a simple 10mm screw. I bought this tool holder through eBay, and it seems to be quite well made. Of course it's not original Swiss made, but anyway it seems to be quite well made. It's the smallest size, the AA size, because that basically fits 1-to-1. I don't need to make any other modifications than the actual tool holder pin which holds down the whole tool holder. It came with these 4 holders, and that will be enough for me to start with. I will see how if I need more or not. In that case I can buy more. The actual tool post is much smaller than the one it is replacing, but that's perfectly fine. As you can see, this is the old one. The new one is a bit taller and generally seems larger, but it is actually a one-to-one replacement to this aluminium one. But for now I will fix it using only this threaded rod, and that will work fine. And it's going to be much more stable than the old one also, so I think this will work just fine. The actual tool post holder screw which I need to make looks like this. It has M10 threads on both ends, and then 3 other dimensions. The thickest part is 18 millimeter, and then down to 13, 10.5, and then also 9.9 for the M10 threads. What I will try to do is to work with this towing pin, I think this is called. I just found this quite cheap in a hardware store near me, and it's made out of steel, hopefully not too hard, but well, I will see. It's almost exactly the right diameter. The diameter here is 19 millimeter, and I need to take 1 millimeter off this to be 18 millimeter. So I will see how it works. Step 1 will be to remove this end so that I can work on it in the lathe. As you can see, the results are not that great, to say the least about it. It's actually pretty poor. There are chatter marks all over. For some reason not at the very edge, but as nearer the chuck the cutter gets, the more frequent the chatter marks are. So I stopped the execution, and I will try to do something about this, because this way I can't really use it for metal anyway, at least not for iron or steel. One thing I will try to do is to move the rod further back, and also to provide support, some support using my tailstock and this rotating tool holder. What I will also do is to move the tool posts further back. I have to do that because there is not enough clearance otherwise for a tailstock. And this is the actual hole, screw hole, which I will move it to. This is as far back as I can move it. I will also move the actual cutter as far back as possible to remove any vibration caused by the extension of the cutter. Hopefully that will fix all my problems and I can restart and use my lathe fully with this new tool post. Okay, so it's time for a restart, and let's see if I can get rid of these ugly shutter marks. And the shuttering is gone. Almost. And this is the last pass. yes, I think considering I am not an expert, this looks quite fine. Now let's see the diameter. It's actually almost right. It's 18.08. So I will just run one more pass. I am actually running this finishing pass at 1000 RPM because I think that should be better actually. So let's say the final result. The surface is definitely nicer. After the changes I made, it seems that it works very well. I don't know which change helped most, but I think it's a combination of the extra support and the shortened cutter tool length. But now I am really satisfied with the result, so this can be very useful. And as you can see, there are some chips, real chips, not just shaving. In the end it turned out to be very nice. The edges are very clean and without any need for deburring. And also the surface is quite nice. And then it will be installed that way, and as you can see it fits very nice. It's quite easy to rotate, but there is no gap or no play, almost nothing at all. It's very hard to feel with my hand that there is any play at all, yet it's rotating fairly easy, very easy. So I think this will work very well. I decided to make something else also from this end. I will cut approximately here and then drill a hole and make an M10 thread inside that hole so that I can use it as a nut on the top here. I think it will be much better than using an ordinary M10 nut, and also it's already been drilled when I bought this piece, so it will be easy to just add some handle if I need it, which of course I will need. I will also chamfer it on this end also, so it will get a better finish than it is now, and also face this side, of course. So it will look like the rest of it, which is pretty nice in my opinion. So that's it for now, and I need to carry on with the next steps. Okay, so now it's time to start threading. So far it looks very good. Okay, I'm now finally ready with this small tool post holder, and I must say it was more difficult than I anticipated it. One reason was that the material was actually much harder than I thought it would be. So my small lathe struggled quite a bit, but in the end I managed anyway. Although not without any mistakes or problems I encountered. Before describing the mistakes I made, I will just shortly go through the changes I made on the fly, or before it was too late. One was at this end, this part, which is the top part, is made a bit longer than I originally planned. I planned for 12mm, but I made it to 15.5. And the main reason for that is because I plan to make a nut out of this end, and I will thread this quite a bit, quite long in here. It will provide a better, a harder push down, so I think it will be better. I also think it looks better if it's a bit longer. The length of this part, which is the top of the screw, is the same as I planned. I didn't change anything there, and also nothing changed in this part. It's still the same length. I did change the bottom, this larger part, because I was thinking that it's better if it's not tightly fit, but I will show it a little bit later. The other change I made in the length was this part, which will be screwed into the plate of the lathe. And I reduced it to 10 millimeter because 14 was a bit too long, and if I would have made it to 14 millimeter, then it would touch the ball screw, which is running just under the part where I can't have more than 10 millimeter. The other thing I changed was the diameter of the screw end, the two screw ends. I planned originally for 9.9 millimeter, but that was a bit too much, so I had to reduce it to 9.7 in the end. And as I said, one mistake I made was I underestimated the hardness of this material. It is much harder than I thought it would be. And when I started cutting the thread here with a thread cutter, I just simply broke one of the teeth. I don't know, it's not really, maybe it's not visible in the video, but anyway, this edge is broken and it can't be used. Luckily I can rotate it, but I decided not to continue thread cutting with the thread cutter, but to manually cut this end, which actually turned out to be very, very nice and smooth, and it was exactly the right decision, because to manually continue cutting the thread meant that I already had a groove which could drive the thread cutter straight in, and that was very good. On this side I made the mistake of not using the thread cutter at all, but I just manually cut the thread, and that was not a very good decision, because this side is a bit skewed, so the nut is not completely straight when you screw the nut on. It will wobble a little, and that wobbling is not because of the tolerance between the diameter and the thread, but it's because the thread is not completely straight. This was a stupid mistake. I should have thought of that, because cutting threads manually is not always a very good idea. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I think it doesn't matter for this tool, but maybe in the end I will make a new one, and that without any mistakes at all. Some other things which were mistakes is that at one stage when I was cutting the diameter down to this end, I reset the tool 0 wrong, which meant that the Z continued cutting into this part which should not have been cut into. But anyway, that's just a small visual issue. It doesn't really affect functionality. And the other thing is that the surfacing on this part, this side, is not as nice as I wished it was. Actually, it's quite different from the other surfaces I made. These ones are nice, but that one is not very nice. But okay, it doesn't matter again. Actually, it has an advantage of providing a better grip on the plate which it will be screwed onto. But now it is done, and I think it's going to be useful. Fitting in the actual tool post, it's a really nice feel, because it fits perfectly without any play at all, almost zero. Just enough for me to be able to rotate when I need to rotate it, and it will grip quite well on the surface. So as I said, I reduced this dimension from 7.5 to 6.9, and that's because this part I wanted it, I didn't want it to be flush to the surface here. I wanted it a bit in there to be able to tighten the screw, the top screw, enough so that it will really grip and push down the actual tool post so that it will hold the tools more rigidly and better. So that's it. I think it looks it still looks quite well. I'm quite satisfied that I managed to make it. Not because it's a beautiful piece, but because this was my first and most complicated thing so far made on my lathe. So let's see how it looks on the actual lathe where it's supposed to be installed on. The nut was very easy to make, and it turned out to be pretty nice also. The tool post rotates easily on the new tool post shaft, and it will hold the tool posts in place. Nicely once it's tightened. I think this tool post holder and necessary screw was a big improvement. That's all for now. Thank you very much once again, and please don't forget to subscribe to my videos. Thank you and goodbye, and see you next time.